Shalom, welcome to another episode of the Sword Sharp 2 channel. My name is Priest Brother Tawar Rakar, and Spirit jumped on me to make a video concerning the last days and involvement of the nuclear destruction. Okay, nuclear destruction coming to a theater near you. Okay, basically, for those who's watching and praying and watching the news, the ones not caught up in tell lies to the vision, for those who don't want to watch television because they're just lazy and refuse to take heed to the current events. We know that a lot of this stuff on television is no good, but Christ did say watch and pray. And you have to watch television to a certain degree for current events, or at least watch the internet, read the newspaper, okay, for certain things that's going down in the society which backs up biblical prophecy. Not saying that everything on the news and the newspapers are good, but if it backs up biblical prophecies concerning, like, for example, storms and floods and real wars and rumors of wars, and the fact that, you got these different Gentile nations, trying to boost up their military somewhat, and for those who listen to the Hebrew Israelites and those who listen to my views on Facebook, or whether it be from my videos, that I preach and speak of World War III. I preach and speak of the last days, and I mainly push Ezekiel the 38th chapter concerning that, World War III. Well, this video, I'm going to go into nuclear destruction, okay? And there's plenty of scriptures concerning the fire that the Lord is going to bring down on the earth. It's not all going to be nuclear destruction, but a large portion of it is going to be nuclear destruction. And the Lord is going to bring fire as well on this earth from the sky. So it's going to be a very horrific day, a day of judgment, okay? And just want to go into a few scriptures concerning it, okay? And I want to go into the book of Nahum in the Old Testament, okay? And I want to go into the book of Nahum, and I'm going to start at chapter 1 in the book of Nahum, and let's start in chapter 1, verse 5, okay, concerning these scriptures, all right, the topic of the nuclear destruction, because this is very vital for these last days for men to really get the understanding of what the Lord is going to do and what he's trying to do on this earth, all right? So let's get into Nahum, which is a book right before the book of Habakkuk, and it comes right after the book of Micah, one of the minor prophets. And I'm going to go into Nahum chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, the mountains quake at him. All right? So there's going to be an earthquake. Okay? There's going to be a major earthquake or several earthquakes that's going to lead up into the second coming of Christ. And this type of earthquake is going to cause mountains, okay, basically to shiver back and forth. And all these things are the examples of the presence of the Lord on this earth. And I know the white man want to talk about, like, plates and things of that nature shifting back and forth. Yeah, that's what the Lord utilizes, you understand, to make his presence known. But the Lord's presence in itself, in the form of an angel, can cause those plates to rub off and cause the earth to quake as well. It's not just the plates of the earth shifting, okay, the seismic activities and things of that nature. No. It's the presence of the Lord that's doing these things, because scientists are still finding seismic activities and plates and fault lines that they never knew about. As a matter of fact, there was one found not too far from where I live in Arkansas. There's one found, close to Mariana, which is about maybe a half-hour drive from here. And I didn't even realize that. It was just found about 3-4 years ago. All right, all these years, you're thinking that earthquakes mainly happen in California, but they also can happen right here in the South and also in the Midwest and different parts of America. And see, that's why when we read the book of Revelation, it speaks of the Babylon being divided into 3 parts by that great earthquake, because there's fault lines and there's types of seismic activities that the white man and Elam, the so-called East Indians, and these scientists don't even know about yet. Okay, they're just finding out on their course of study. They're finding out these different things. The Lord has set up booby traps. This whole damn country is a freaking booby trap, man. That it just takes one trigger, man. Trigger wire to go off and bang, bang, bang. Okay, the Lord could just destroy this whole place. You could have an earthquake in Texas, man. You can have an earthquake right in the middle of the damn country, 7.0, 8.0 on the Richter scale. Some Japan type or Haiti type stuff could happen right in this country, okay, if the Lord wanted it to. So let's just get the understanding of that, all right? Because there will be a great earthquake in these latter days, and it's going to continue to get more and more. And the World War III, okay, and these different bomb activities and the HARP system and the HARP program, the Lord is going to utilize these things that man has invented to cause these different destruction and these different earthquakes. You get the understanding. And it says, like verse 5 again, the mountains quake at him, okay, and the hills melt, okay. So yeah, this fire that the Lord is going to bring down on the earth is going to melt hills, okay, and the earth is burned at his presence. Yeah, the earth is going to burn, okay, in the day of the Lord's presence, okay, judgment day. This earth is going to burn, okay. The Lord told Noah that he will not destroy the earth by water or flood anymore, but like it tells you in 2 Peter, it tells you that this should be burning, this should be by fire. Okay, and Isaiah prophesied about it as burning in fuel fire. And it says, yea, the world and all that dwell therein, okay, they're going to be burnt at his presence, man. All right, so yeah, so pretty much, you know, those that dwell in this world, they're going to be burnt to death, okay, in the day of the Lord's presence, okay, in the day of this fire that the Lord's going to bring on this earth mixed with earthquakes. And verse 6, who can stand before his indignation? Because the Lord is angry. Okay, the Lord is angry because the so-called white man, for example, still continues, okay, to push homosexuality and basically same-sex marriages, for example. Okay, this man still continues to do these things, okay, as well as this man continues to profit, okay, off of stolen property that he stole this land from the Native and Seminole Indians, okay, which are the tribe of Gad and Reuben of the nation of Israel. They are Israelites, okay? And this is the things, but I'm going to say you do have some Japhites or some Asians mixed in amongst them, which is another video that I wanted to get into, okay, from Canada. Okay, you do have some mixing in of those natives in Canada with the ones in North America, all right, and which, you know, those are not all Israelites. For those that want to say, oh, okay, well, these guys look like a damn Asian, how is he an Israelite? You do have some mixture in, all right, but the purebred Native Americans, okay, they're not Asians, they are Israelites, and they are relatives to the Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians, and the Latinos and Latinas of Native Indian descent. But that's another topic, kind of getting off of it, but I just want to take a stab at that for future videos and shows, all right. But the Lord is angry, okay, and his indignation, okay, is very high. And it says, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? Okay, because when the Lord shows his anger, it's going to be through earthquakes and it's going to be through fire. Okay, his fury is poured out like fire. Okay, that's what the Lord is saying. That's what the scriptures are saying. The Lord's anger and his fury is poured out like fire. Okay, volcanoes erupting. Okay, fires in California or throughout Colorado. That's all part of the Lord's anger because the Lord is angry with this place. Okay. You say in God we trust, but you don't uphold the laws of God, okay, in this land, okay? And it says, and the rocks are thrown down by him, okay? Avalanches, okay, rock slides, mudslides, landslides, all that is the proof of the anger of the Lord, okay? And I want to hold that scripture, all right? And I want to go to Psalm 68:1. I posted this scripture on Facebook not too long ago. Okay, and it says, Psalm chapter 68, verse 1, it says, let God arise, let his enemies be scattered, let them also that hate him flee before him. Because you got a lot of people that hate the Most High. Okay, they say God is a faggot. Okay, they say things like that. Okay, they blasphemy. All right, those men that say these things, they cannot be saved. They're condemned. Okay, all matter of sin can be forgiven except for blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. When you say things like that about the Most High, okay, and it's not through your ignorance but through your hatred, okay, you're condemned. You're going to be burnt, okay? And when the Lord makes his second coming to his son, you're going to flee before him, despite the fact that you're bold right now, because right now you don't see the Lord. Or in your vanity eyes, you don't see him, but the Lord is always around us at all times. Just with your vanity eyes, you can't see him. All right, and it says, as smoke is driven away, so drive them away. So the Lord's going to drive niggas away. Okay, he's going to take these niggas away. As wax melteth before the fire. Okay, that's how the Lord's going to deal with niggas. He's going to melt you just like wax melts in the presence of fire. you niggas are going to melt in the presence of the Lord. And it says, so let the wicked perish at the presence of God. And that goes for the Gentiles, and that goes for anybody that's wicked in the eyes of the Lord. They're gonna perish at the presence of the highest. And it says, but let the righteous be glad. See, we're going to be glad. The men of the Lord, we're going to be glad, all right, when all this stuff is going down. Okay? Let them rejoice before Yahweh. Let them exceedingly rejoice. So we're going to exceedingly rejoice. We want to be happy. We're going to be glad to see niggas melt. Okay? And the wicked melt. Okay? We're going to be happy. All those that say, that hate our power, that hate the God of heaven and earth, the only true living God of Israel. Okay, we're gonna be glad when the Lord melts these niggas, man, and these crackers and these Gentiles and anybody else that say blasphemic things against the Creator, man. Okay, we're gonna be rejoiced, man. We're gonna rejoice, man. Let's get Isaiah. Okay, let's get the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 30. These are scriptures that your pastors will not read to you in the church because they're too busy copulating seed with every woman that they come across for. Okay, even some their own daughters. Okay. So let's read the book of Isaiah chapter 30 verse 30. It says, and the Lord shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall show the lightning down of his arm. Okay? Yeah, when people get struck by lightning, that's the Lord's will. Lightning strikes, that's the Lord's arm being displayed on the earth. And it says, with the indignation of his anger. Right, so when people die by lightning strikes, that's the show forth of God's anger towards that individual. You understand? And it says, and with the flame of a devouring fire, because some of these lightning strikes can cause fire. And anything that deals with natural fires, okay, coming from nature, okay, that's from God. And even man-made fires, such as weapons of mass destruction, okay, that's also by the will of God, the will of the highest. And it says, with scattering and tempest. Tempest represents tornadoes. Okay, that's a tempest. Okay, violent windstorms. Okay, the Lord controls that. You saw what happened to Oklahoma City earlier this year, or last year, whatever, near that area in Oklahoma. Okay, that's the Lord's anger, because you stole Oklahoma from the Native Americans. Okay, let's just keep it real. You white settlers, okay, that your children, you white people that are children of those settlers, y'all stole that land from the Native Americans. Okay, let's keep it real. And the Native Americans, okay, are God's chosen people. Okay, they are the tribe of Gad of the nation of Israel. Okay, but the Lord allowed that to happen because they were wicked and evil, worshiping pagan gods. Okay, and hailstones, and that's what happens in the midst of tornadoes, hailstones. Okay, and also hailstones from the sky. Okay, that's all by the will of God, and that shows forth the Lord's anger. We get the understanding of it all, man, and that's beautiful. So let's go in the New Testament. Let's go in the book of Matthew. Okay, let's go to Matthew chapter 13, verse 41. Let's get it out the new. Because I deal with all scriptures, Old and New Testament, and the Apocrypha in between, which a lot of people don't want to indulge in and admit that's part of the Word of God, the Holy Apocrypha. But let's go to St. Matthew chapter 13, verse 41. And it says, the Son of Man shall send forth his angels. Okay, like I said, Christ is like a mafia up in the heavens. Christ is the underboss, and the angels are the enforcers. Okay, the Son of Man shall send forth his angels. So Christ, the underboss of the Most High, he's setting forth and giving order to the angels, which are the enforcers. And they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend. See, this is the Lord's kingdom. Okay, right now the Lord's kingdom is being ostracized by Satan. Okay, and Satan is mainly using the so-called white race as his chief general in command to push his will of demonic and demonism on this earth. Okay, and it's infecting the masses of the people, man. Okay, but all that they offend in the Lord's kingdom, including Satan himself, okay, because his presence in the Lord's kingdom is to be the adversary. So basically, him and his angels, they're going to be rooted up out of this kingdom too. I mean, the Lord is going to take the reins from them, because right now this is their kingdom, and they have invaded the Lord's kingdom. The Lord has allowed that to happen, but in the Lord's kingdom, when he's ready to set up his dynasty and his kingdom, his New Jerusalem, he's going to tell Satan and his angels to get the hell out of there. And then all those that's joined to Satan and his angels, they're going to get the hell out of there too, which deals with man and woman on this earth, which are wicked. Okay, and because it says that here, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, meaning offend the Lord, and them which do iniquity, which is sin. Okay, like being a homosexual, that's sin. Okay, for example, that's sin. Okay, now, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. Here we go with that fire again. The Lord says he's going to cast them into the furnace of fire. Okay, because the fire is already going to be lit. Okay, at the time that Christ is speaking of here. So people are going to be thrown into that fire in that day. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. There's going to be a lot of crying, a lot of praying, okay? But the Lord don't give a damn, and neither will the men of the Lord. We don't give a damn either, okay? Like we just read in Psalm 68, we're going to be rejoiced and be glad as the Lord is melting people like wax is melted in the presence of fire, man, okay? And it says, then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father, all right? So yes, we're going to shine, okay, forth as a sun in the kingdom of our Father. Okay, because see, right now the men of the Lord is like an eclipse. The darkness of the moon, which is the wicked, has eclipsed us, in which the righteousness that we speak of is not really visible, or it's visible, but it's not really taken heed of as the word of God. Okay, we're considered to be a cult. We're considered to be madmen. When the word of the Lord, okay, that's the same thing they said about Christ and his disciples. That's why they crucified them. If there was about God love everybody and peace for all, why would they have been crucified? Peter was crucified upside down. Christ was crucified, nailed to the cross. Okay, Stephen was beheaded by his own people. You understand? So these are the things that happened. John, okay, the Revelator was put on a salt mine on the island of Patmos. There he died of old age before, okay, of course not before he seen the visions, which is now known as the book of Revelation, concerning what would happen and after the death of John, for up to the second coming of Christ thereafter. Okay, who have ears to hear, let him hear. So not everybody's going to get this understanding. That's why it says, he that have ears, let him hear. Not everybody's going to get this understanding. Okay, no. So let's go back. See, I like to go back forth to the Old and New Testament, man. Christ said, lo, I come in the volume of the book. Behold, it is written of me. Okay, so we're going to go into Psalm chapter 97, verse 2. And it says, clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. A fire goeth before him. So the part of the judgment which brings forth the righteousness acts of the Lord, okay, where the righteous can shine forth, like it tells you, like what we just read in Matthew, okay, is a fire that goes before the Lord. And it says, and burneth up his enemies round about. Beautiful. Okay, and that's what's happening. Okay, so no, Iran is not going, okay, to decimate their nuclear program, okay, because see, this is all in the will of God for these nations to have nuclear capabilities to shoot and burn each other up. That's what the Lord is doing in his chess game here, okay. And it says, okay, his lightnings enlighten the world, the earth saw and trembled. Okay, lightning storms. You're going to see a lot more people struck with lightning, a lot more lightning storms causing fires, hitting telephone wires and poles, causes massive fires in the trees that are near them. Okay, the evacuation of homes that live near those areas. Okay, and it says right here, the hills melted like wax at the presence of the Lord. And just like what we read in the book of Psalm, okay, I believe it was the 68th chapter that we read in the book of Psalms, it tells you the people were melting like wax, okay, in the presence of the Lord. But in Psalm 97, it goes and says that the hills melted like wax at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. Okay, and it says, the heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Okay, so yeah, just like it tells in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, man. Okay, they're going to be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation, because the people are going to be amazed to see these chariots, which they've been labeled as UFOs, come out the sky, delivering the righteousness, okay, from all the nonsense that's going down here in this earth, okay, as the earth is burning away, okay, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And then it speaks about, okay, in the presence of the Lord, all right, the heavens shall declare his righteousness, and all the people shall see his glory. All right, so expect to see more tempests, more thunderstorms, more lightning storms, up until the time of the nuclear destruction, up until the time of fire on this earth. Expect to see these days, because it's prophesied to occur. All right, they've happened already, but it's more than likely going to escalate. It's the key word is escalation. Like, these things been happening for years. The men of the Lord, we understand that, but it's going to escalate and get worse and worse and come at more rapid. Okay, so now let's go to Ezekiel. What does it mean for you blacks and Hispanics, you unrepentant wannabe ones? You don't want to be repentant and take heed. You want to be caught up into Egyptology and worshiping a nigger woman. That's what you want to be into. You just want to worship the Queen of Heaven like you did during the time of Jeremiah. Okay, you said that you're going to do what you want to do. That's for the words that come up out of your mouth. You're going to continue to burn incense for her, because the nigger woman has become the new idol amongst the black and Hispanic community. She's become the new idol. She's not even called a goddess no more. Niggas is going so far as saying she's God. So they have now escalated her in a will of Satan from goddess to God. Okay, so now the idol worshiping is getting worse. See, not many people are worshiping idols of wood and stone like they were in ancient times. Although if you caught up into religion of Islam, in a way you're worshiping stone, because that's exactly what's in that Kaaba cube when you go to Mecca. It's a damn stone, a meteorite that everybody make their pilgrimage to and bow down unto, which is against the laws of God. Okay, and then the idol, the next number one idol is that white image of Christ, which is Caesar Borgia. That's what a lot of people like to hang up on their walls, and they want to worship him. That just promotes white supremacy, and that basically promotes, even a white woman came out her mouth and said Jesus was white, even though the Bible clearly tells you that he was a man of color, okay, and he had wool hair, you understand? But still in all, the white woman that wishes to join and remain unto her nation, wishes to promote her nation, okay, which is the children of Satan, by promoting white supremacy, okay, and basing doctrine of lies. See, this is why they have to be burnt up and destroyed, because they continue to promote themselves as God. Like it tells you in 2 Thessalonians, okay, they show themselves as God. Okay, it tells you, I believe in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, it tells you that, because their forefathers, the Romans, were doing that. They showed and depicted themselves as gods, or their gods look like them. All right, so in this kingdom, there's nothing new under the sun, like Solomon tells you in Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun. These Gentiles in rulership, they don't tell the truth. They promote themselves as God, and they don't even promote the words of God. Okay, they promote their own little way of life, which is satanic and evil. That's how you know they're of Satan. Okay, so now we're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 18. Now, what about you blacks and Hispanics and Native and Seminole Indians, which are the children of Israel? What about you in the midst of this? How do you guys fit in with this nuclear destruction that the Lord is going to bring down on this earth, and time will tell shortly, hopefully. Okay? This is Ezekiel 22, verse 18. Son of man, which represents the men of the Lord. It says, the house of Israel is to me become dross. You know what dross is? Dross is useless, man. You niggas is useless in the eyes of the Lord. You got men fighting over a pair of Jordans, man. They think their whole status of self-worth is because of the sneakers they have on their feet, J's on their feet. Okay, this is what is being promoted, man. And a nigga would do anything for $1. Okay, he'll be a faggot for $1. You understand? And the only reason, the main reason why these men are like that is so they could worship the black woman. So they could therefore, they could become more sexually and more appealing to her, to please her and to worship her and cater to her. That's what it's all about. Okay, that's why men get, they're like Jay-Z and R. Kelly made that song Pussy, okay, not a while back. Okay, that's why niggas get haircuts. That's why they try to get the flies whipped. They try to put the best rims in their car. They put grills in their mouth because they try to impress her. Now they got her on a pedestal, which now they call her empress now. Okay, that's just another form of idol worshiping, man. Okay, no one is praising the Creator in the midst of this nonsense. The nigga woman is a creature. Okay, you want to worship the creature more than the Creator, man. Like it tells you in Romans, the creature represents the things that God has created. And you want to worship the creature, the creation, more than the Creator, which is the Most High. Okay, so you niggas have become useless. Okay, in the eyes of the Lord. You've become useless to the Lord because you're not promoting Him. You're promoting a black woman. You're promoting money. You're promoting economic growth and well-being and things of that nature. And there's nothing wrong with economic growth and well-being so long as you don't put it before serving the Most High. Because if you put that before serving the Most High, then that's when you receive the mark of the beast, man. Because that's what the beast is promoting. He's promoting economic growth and well-being and things of that nature. That's what he's promoting. And he's promoting these things without promoting the words of God. And in essence, for you to get these things, you have to be against the words of God. You can't be about the words of God. You have to be about the words of the beast. And the beast is this system that was created by the so-called white race. It's their system through the spirit of Satan that they have created, that you blacks and Hispanics are paper chasing in the midst of. You understand? So you become dross in the eyes of the Lord. You have become totally useless in the eyes of the Creator. So that's why the Lord said, you have become unto Him like dross. Useless metal. Okay? They are brass and tin and iron and lead. In the midst of the furnace, they are even a dross of silver. So the Lord is comparing you to brass, tin, and iron, which is not real quality metals. We're supposed to be the sons of God, Zion, more precious than fine gold. The Lord is saying you become like brass, tin, and iron, which is not real valuable, okay, on a financial market like silver and mainly gold. And here it is, in the midst of the furnace, the Lord said they are even a dross of silver. So basically you like the pieces of metal that basically falls to the ground after some form of welding is being done, a process on this piece. You become like that piece of metal that fell off. Okay, you niggas have fell off in America throughout the four corners. You fell off from the Lord. Now you into Egyptology now. You're promoting these Hamitic gods now, these African gods who the Lord destroyed, okay, and butchered. Even a damn white man spit on these damn African gods when he came in the form of Ptolemy. You understand? Ptolemy came in, the Greeks came in there and shut down Egypt, but men still want to uphold Egypt though. You understand? But Egypt is nothing to us. I'm interested in the last days, first of all, those people in Egypt, not even the real Egyptians, they're Arabs. And even the ones of them, okay, that remain amongst Egypt, whether they be of African descent or whether they be of Arab descent or even a few Israelites that might be scattered amongst them, they're going to stop worshiping their idols and they're going to worship the God of Israel. As soon as they realize that their idols are not going to be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. See, everybody running their mouth down because the Lord hasn't put his presence and his foot all up in the ass of the earth right now. See, the Lord is very patient and slow to anger, and he's letting people run their mouth right now. But it's going to come a time where it's going to be time for you to cash all of that you talked and you've written in the check of your life. The Lord's going to be looking to cash in. Okay, and the Lord said every idle word that you should say, you will be held accountable for in the day of judgment. So the Lord is taking notes and the angels are taking notes and niggas running their mouth right now. But that's okay. Okay, because see, when the Lord decides to set fire on this earth, then like it tells in the book of Jeremiah, whose word shall stand? Yours or mine? Because you will come under the strictness of my rod, or you will be corrected through fire. Because see, fire is a cleansing agent. That's why the Lord said that in the midst of the furnace, you are even a dross of silver. Because even when that time comes, you still not going to want to take correction. So then the Lord is just going to melt you. And we're going to continue to read that judgment. It says, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem. So the Lord is going to gather you in the midst of Jerusalem in that particular time and moment. And it says, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace. So the midst of Jerusalem represents in the midst of the people, because Jerusalem is a place before there's a city. You understand? So this is going to Jerusalem, meaning in the nation, meaning that all of us will be a witness to what the Lord is going to do to y'all in the day of the Lord's wrath. And it says, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it. So will I gather you in mine anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. All right, so the Lord is just going to melt you. Wherever you stay at amongst blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans in Jerusalem, the Lord said he's going to leave you there, and the Lord said he is going to melt you. Okay, he's going to melt you. Because whether you understand and believe it or not, you are an Israelite. Okay, through the flesh, not of the spirit, but the flesh, because you still want to be caught up into these different philosophies and pagan religions. Okay, but the Lord said that you will be gathered in the midst of his people, and you'll be left as a witness. And the Lord said he's going to leave you there, and the Lord said he's going to melt you. Okay, that's what the Lord said. And it said, I will gather you and blow upon you in the fire of my wrath. Okay. And ye shall be melted in the midst thereof. Shall ye be melted in the midst thereof. So shall ye be melted in the midst thereof. Excuse me. And ye shall know that I, the Lord, have poured out my fury upon you. Okay, so that's what the Lord is going to do. He's going to leave you in the ghettos and in the slums that you come from with your nonsense. And wherever you are amongst our nation, amongst our people, the Lord said he's going to leave you. Because he's going to deliver. Okay, we're going to read Zechariah 13 and 8. Okay, he's going to deliver 1/3. Okay, and basically 2/3 of you, okay, the Lord is going to have melted. Okay, melted. All right, and either you're going to be melted on this side, or the Lord is going to melt you on the other side, meaning in the wilderness. Either way, the Lord is going to get you. Okay, that's the bottom line. You cannot escape the wrath of the Lord, and you cannot escape judgment. All right, so now, This is Zechariah 3. This is the understanding of Zechariah 13 and 8, because I know men are murmuring concerning this prophecy like as if it came to pass already, and saying that we offer quote-unquote two-third doctrine. Okay, but that's what it is. It's not a doctrine, it's the truth. Okay, because that's what the scriptures are saying here. All right, we're going to start at verse 8 in Zechariah 13, because this is concerning the coming of the Messiah, okay, and the judgment upon Israel and the deliverance of the elect, okay, after the death of Christ. Like it says, smite the shepherd and the sheep shall scatter. And that's what mainly happened after the death of Christ. All types of philosophies and all types of teachings about Christ erupted. Okay, and since Christ was in there to really check men and to put the order down, you had all types of doctrines come out concerning Christ. You had some doctrines that Christ married, okay, and had kids somewhere. You had doctrines of a virgin birth that came out. Okay, you got doctrine of God in Christ is the same, meaning that God came in the form of flesh and then he went back up in the spirit. You got this doctrine going around like that, okay, and that's saying that God in Christ is the same thing, okay, which in essence Christ is the Son of God, okay, but you got people saying that Christ is God, and they're saying it in a retrospect, not that he's our commanding leader under the Most High, but they're saying it like as if he is the actual creator, he is the actual God in the heavens that came down in the flesh. So when he was on the earth, there was no God in the heavens. You got doctrines like that, not understanding those scriptures that speak of that in Philippians concerning, okay, Christ didn't take it, okay, to any form of disrespect, basically paraphrasing when he accounted himself as God, because see, Christ is the creator of everything. When the Lord created him, he told his son to create everything else. Okay, so now this is Zechariah chapter 13 verse 8, and it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, because we just spoke about in Jerusalem in Ezekiel, so all the land represents wherever we are scattered at. Okay, saith the Lord, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my Lord. So now let's break this down. Okay, let's start at verse 8 here. Let's start at verse 8. Okay, let's break these two scriptures down, two verses down in Zechariah the 13th chapter. I was going to do a video on this, but really, it's not even worth a video. It's a real short explanation, okay? So that could be in the contents of a video I'm doing with similar, subject matter, which is the fire. The nuclear destruction is that fire. And it's also referring to the fire of affliction, okay, when you basically get the understanding of it. So let's start at verse 8. It says, and it shall come to pass. So this is, anytime you hear the word shall come to pass, this is future. Prophecy from the time that Zechariah is given this understanding or this vision. So it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. Okay, so I want to get to the part of the 1/3 should be left therein. The 1/3 represents the remnant, man. Okay, hold that. Give me Romans chapter 11, verse 5. The third represents the remnant, okay, because not everybody of our nation, okay, is going to call upon the Lord and be saved. You understand? Not everybody's going to make it, man. Okay. This is Romans chapter 11, verse 5. The elect is also synonymous. The remnant is also synonymous with the elect of Israel. The 1/3 represents the elect or the remnant that the Lord would choose, okay, to deliver through the fire. Okay, this is Romans 11 and 5. Okay, and it says, even so then at this present time, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. All right, so not through their works, but through grace and mercy, with the works of them striving or making an attempt. That's when the mercy is added to complete their salvation. This is for the Israelites or the Jews, not for all nations, because Romans 11 in the first few verses is going into Israel before it jumps into the actual Gentiles in verses 11 on down. This is going to the nation of Israel, and the elect that's really saved through grace is referring to whom? It's referring to the Israelites. So the 1/3 is the elect, okay, or the remnant that the Lord shall save through grace, through that fire. Okay, so now what is that fire? Okay, first of all, let's go back to Zechariah 13 and let's read verse 9, because I want to get into the point of the 1/3 in verse 8. So now let's go to verse 9. Okay, and it says, and I will bring the third part through the fire. Now we already got the understanding. Okay, and if you don't want to accept it, too damn bad. That's what the Spirit showed me with the scripture to back it up through the precept. The fact is that the third represents the remnant or the elect of our nation. You understand? It says, and I will bring the third part, because not everybody of Israel is going to make it. All right, so it's just because you're the seed of Abraham doesn't mean you're going to make it through this destruction. So you got the remnant, okay, of our nation. Okay, like it tells you in Hosea, although we be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant shall return. That remnant is synonymous with 1/3. Okay, we're not putting an exact number to it. It's just that's how the Lord broke it down. We're not saying 30% of Israel, as us for say we know what the 100% count is. You cannot number Israel, but the 1/3 represents the elect. The 1/3 also represents the remnant. Okay, because if you look at a circle, the 1/3, if you break down a circle into 3 parts, the 1/3 just symbolic represents the remnant. It don't mean actually 1/3 of Israel. The majority, which is a 2/3, represents the bulk of our nation, who the Lord is going to melt. Okay, like we read in Ezekiel 22. Okay, he's going to melt them and burn them in the fierceness of his anger. Okay, so maybe verse 9. Okay, it says, and I will bring the third part through the fire. So now the fire is twofold. Okay, the fire represents affliction, and the fire represents the actual fire that the Lord is going to bring down on this earth. But it's mainly going to the affliction, though. But it can be twofold. Yes, twofold. Okay, for men spiritual to understand that it can be twofold, going into the fire that the Lord is going to bring on this earth. The Lord is going to bring them out from that fire. I mean, he's going to deliver them, okay, from that. And let's further prove that. First, let's deal with the point of affliction, which is the first case of fire. We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 48. Okay, and I believe it's Isaiah. Let's go to chapter 48, and let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 9. Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 48, verse 8. It says, "For my name's sake will I defer my anger, and for my praise will I refrain for thee, that I cut thee not off." So he's talking about not cutting off the whole nation. "Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver," because you're supposed to refine silver as a metal, but that's not how the Lord is refining us and making us valuable in his eyes again. It says, "I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction." So furnace is synonymous with the word fire, because a furnace is what holds the fire and causes the fire to burn. So that's the affliction that the Lord said that he will bring us through, affliction. "For my own sake, even for my own sake will I do it. For how should my name be polluted, and I will not give my glory unto another?" So the Most High is not trying to glory to other nations. Okay, he's glorying the children of Israel. His glory will be manifested through the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the elect. "Hearken unto me, O Jacob and Israel, my call." See, the Lord is calling us, the Israelites, not all nations. He's calling the Israelites. "And I am he. I am the first, I also am the last." So that's basically what, like Christ said, okay, I'm the Ah or the Tha, the beginning and the end. Okay, so the Lord is calling the Israelites through his son Christ, the Messiah, okay, to return back unto him. You understand? So the bottom point, what I wanted to make is the Lord said that he's going to, because he's not going to cut the whole nation off. That's why 2/3 are going to be cut off, the majority. And he's going to leave the third, or the remnant, and he's going to bring them through the fire. So therefore the Israelites will not be cut off. The Lord is going to, just like it was during the time of Moses when the Lord was angry with the whole nation, but yet he didn't cut off the whole nation. What he wanted to do, he wanted to save Moses and his 2 Gentile women, by the way. Okay, and he wanted to take Moses, and he wanted to start a new nation through Moses with his 2 Gentile women, by the way. And when he wanted to start the new nation of Israel through his 2 Gentile women, by the way, he wanted to start the whole nation of Israel through the seed of Israel, from the seed of Levi, which was Moses at that time, from his 2 Gentile women, by the way. And he wanted to start a whole new nation. Okay, he wanted to start a whole new nation through Moses and his 2 Gentile women, by the way. Okay, and he wanted to just rebuke and just cast off all the rest of the Israelites, okay, outside of Moses. okay, the Israelite man and the Israelite woman. He just wanted to keep Moses alive, okay, and his two Gentile women, by the way, and bring forth Israel through him, through the womb of the Gentile women, by the way, and bring forth Israel through that way, okay? So, you know, I don't think the Most High was calling Moses children at that point, if he was going to do that, bastards. Okay, because you men like to say through the you know, through your goddess, the nigger woman, you like to say, oh, well, those children are bastards. If you have children with Gentile women, they're bastards. Okay, no. If you have children with pagan, okay, abominable, strange women, they're bastards, because those children are going to be influenced by their mother to worship those strange pagan gods. If the mother is in order, then she is not strange, whether she be Jew or Gentile. Didn't Paul tell you that in Romans the 3rd chapter? Okay, very simple. Okay, if the woman is in order with the Most High and she's followed after a man of Israel and cleaving unto him, the children are not out of order. They're in order. Okay, because who's mainly the first teachers of the child? The mother. Okay, so if the mother is pagan, the children is pagan. So yes, if you have a black woman and she want to worship Christmas and New Year's and she's pagan, then she's a strange woman. Your children are bastards, okay, basically, because they are going to be influenced by their mother to do these things. So they're going to be outcasted because they're spiritual bastards, not physical bastards. Spiritual bastards because they don't have a father. The true father meaning the God of heaven. They're not worshiping. They're worshiping some strange gods because of their mother. Okay, not because of their father, but because of their mother. Okay, but that's another topic in itself, and I made a video. I'm going to do volume 2 on that, Most High willing, Deuteronomy 23rd bastards, because I know there's many of the black women among Israel pushing that, and you men that want to uphold the earth for her, you say shalom, and yes, sis, that's right. Okay, you agree to that, because you don't want to see yourself with no other woman but her. But Moses, 2 Gentile women, by the way, or even if you say 1, because there's a debate whether or not was it 1 or 2 Gentile. Well, he had a Gentile woman, by the way. Okay, and the Most High said he was going to start a new nation with Moses. So that was like the 1/3 or the remnant. Because the most of Israel in the eyes of the Lord was condemned at that point. He just wanted Moses. So there's only a certain, okay, group of individuals amongst our nation the Lord wants, and the rest of them he's going to outcast away. That's the bottom line to the point. He's going to outcast them away. All right, and that's the 2/3, and the remnant is the 1/3. That's the bottom line to it all. All right, so this Isaiah 48:10 again. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. Okay, so they're the chosen. The ones that the Lord brings to the fire, they are the chosen. So that's the furnace, that's the fire, one-fold part. Now the two-fold part of that fire, let's get it. Let's give me Psalms 46:6. Okay, this is book of Psalms chapter 46 verse 6. And it says, the heathen raged, okay, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. So this is in the presence of the earth being set on fire by the Lord. And it says, the Lord of hosts is with us. I mean, that's the Lord of hosts is the angels. Okay, the angels. Like it tells you in the book of Daniel, it says that Michael should stand for his people. Well, Michael is the commander and the captain of the Lord of hosts as far as the enforcers go. And it says that the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. See that? The God of Jacob is our refuge. So why everybody's being burnt up? What is refuge synonymous with? Shelter. Okay? So while everybody's being burnt up and the kingdoms were moved because of that earthquake and destruction and the bombs and these nations going at it with each other, okay, the Lord uttered his voice and the earth melted. I mean, the presence of the Lord, fire will come upon the earth. And the Lord said he will be our refuge. So he's going to be our shelter. That's part of bringing the third part through the fire. In the midst of the earth being melted, the Lord said he will be our refuge. And it says, come, behold, the works of the Lord, what desolations he hath made in the earth. Because a fire is going to make a lot of places on this earth desolate, especially America. This place is going to be totally annihilated. Okay? And it says, he maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. So in the midst of that, the nation's going to war. When Christ returns, he's going to shut that down. And after that, the nations shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, which is the adverse effect, the reverse effect of Joel the 3rd chapter, 9th verse on down. So that's what's going to happen before Christ's return. But like it tells you in 2nd Ezra, I believe 14, when Christ shows up, he's going to basically destroy these nations and their armies. And then the leftovers is going to submit to the God of Israel, because they're going to be like, what? We have no other choice. They're going to be held powerless by the Son of Man. And then it says, he maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. That's how the war is going to be stopped, through Christ destroying them and shutting niggas down, shutting the Gentiles down. Okay, and it says, he breaketh the bow and cut up the spirit in sunder. He burneth the chariot in the fire. So in the midst of the Lord destroying the nations with the fire, the chariots represent their vehicles, their military vehicles. The Lord's going to destroy that. And the bow and the spear represents these missiles. The Lord's going to destroy all of that. And it says, but still, and know that I am the Most High. I will be exalted among the heathen. All right? See, because that's how the Lord's going to make his presence known amongst the Gentiles in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is located in Israel. Okay? And that's where World War III, the invasion of Ezekiel 38 chapter, is going to lead into Christ returning in that area. And that's when he's going to destroy the Gentiles' army. He's going to make himself known through his power. Okay? And it says, I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Salah. So that's how the Lord said he's going to bring the third part through the fire. The Lord is going to bring the third part through the fire, meaning that the remnant or the elect is going to be brought through the furnace of affliction. Because see, the men of the Lord, we're going to be catching hell in these last days. We're going to be catching hell from everybody. From our own flesh nation. Okay, we're going to be catching hell from the nigger woman, you already know that. We're going to be catching hell from the so-called white race. We're going to be catching hell from our children. We're going to be catching hell from everybody, even amongst other Israelites amongst each other. We're going to be catching hell. The men of the Lord are going to suffer. We're going to go through pain. We're going to go through distress. So when you go through these things, don't think that you're doing something wrong unless you know you're doing something wrong. If you know you're doing right in the eyes of the Lord and you're still going through pain and distress and suffering, that's because the Lord is afflicting you. Okay, the Lord is afflicting you to try to see whether or not you're good to go. Are you for him or you for self? Understand? So the Lord is just like he afflicted the damn Midianite Hebrew Job. Just like he afflicted Job, and Job stood by, okay, as far as worshiping, okay, the Most High in the sense of how the Gentiles knew him as that time before he made himself known unto Israel. The Gentiles knew him as a terrible God, the Awashadiyah, the great and terrible power. So that's how Job knew him as, okay, from the time of Abraham, the Gentiles recognized a God, but he wasn't known as a God of Israel then. But they do recognize him as a creator. So Job didn't turn his back on the creator, knowing that these things was from the creator, okay, because he thought he was because of his sins, but regardless, Job still stood for the Lord. And for that, the Lord said, I'm going to redeem you on this earth. All right, so that was one example of a Gentile who the Lord said he will redeem. You understand? Because he stood by and worshiping the God of the earth at that time, which is what the Gentiles called him from Genesis, the first chapter. Before the Lord made himself known to Israel when we came up out of Egypt. Because the story of Job took place before we came up out of Egypt. You know, you got all these doctrines. Job was an Edomite or Job was Issachar. No. Okay, the scriptures don't even support that factor. You go into all these different various books to try to get the idea when it's right in front of your face. He was from the children of the east. Okay, the same people that Jacob got a wife from. It's real simple, man. Okay, when men go into all these different books, some want to do it because they want to support the white race. Okay, some are doing it because they want to support the Israelite nationalism aspect, or all the men of the Lord, and all these men that worship the God were all Israelites. But men don't understand that before we came up out of Egypt, you understand, the Gentiles knew of a God that created the heavens and the earth. And when you read Genesis, the 4th chapter, it tells you men were calling upon the name of the Lord at that time. That he was just not known as what they call Jehovah or Yahweh. They didn't call him that. Okay, but they did call him a name, a great and terrible power. But he referred his name unto Israel through Moses. Because Moses said, well, what shall I say your name is? Okay, when you read Exodus, the 3rd chapter. And he said, by my name Jehovah, I was not known to him. Which translates to the Hebrew is, I believe is Yahweh. Okay, so in that retrospect of the angle of that issue, you understand, you had Job going through affliction, but yet he stood for the Lord. You got the men of the Lord, which are the chosen, the Israelites. They're definitely going to go through affliction, and the Lord said that I'm going to try you, because that's his way of trying you. and he's going to bring you through the furnace of affliction, like it tells you in Isaiah chapter 48, verse 10. You understand? So that's it on that. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 40. Okay? This is the book of the prophet Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 40. Okay? Concerning that. And it says right here, as God, the Most High, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. So, just like the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and like it tells you in 2 Peter, they were given forth as an example for all kingdoms to come after what would happen if they lived in somewhat similar fashion. Sodom and Gomorrah was known for the main sin, homosexuality. There was a lot of other things that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah outside of just homosexuality, because the people were procreating, so not everybody was a homo. There was a lot of homosexuals, bisexuals, a lot of rob and theft was going on. There was a lot of things that was being done in that city, okay, unlawful acts, unjust dealings, that started with their leaders. When you go into the book of Jasher, it goes more in depth to what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah, okay. So the book of Jasher has been tainted, so I would be careful going into it, okay, but there is some truth in it, because the Bible does mention the book of Jasher. It's just that I'm not quite sure that this book of Jasher, which we have, is the original book of Jasher that the Bible was mentioning. I believe in the hands of the Gentiles throughout the centuries, okay, certain words was taken out and added in. But the basic concept of it, as far as the history of what was going on mainly during the time of Genesis, I do stand pat that a lot of that was true. Concerning Sodom and Gomorrah, for example, yes, there was other things that was going on in that city that was off. But the main thing the Bible wanted you to get the understanding of was the fact that they were homosexuals, because they tried to sleep with the men that came to see Lot that night, which were actually angels in disguise. You understand? So, in retrospect, the Lord said, nah, you got to get out tonight, because we're going to burn this place down now. We're not even going to wait until a certain time period. Like we're here to give you warning. No, we're here to tell you to pack your bags and get the hell out. Don't even look back at the city when we destroy it. So America is a spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah because of the unjust dealings and wickedness that's going on in this place. The Lord is going to burn and torch this place, okay? And it's going to be just like Sodom and Gomorrah. And he's going to do it with the thermonuclear destruction. I don't give a damn. And the white man in America knows that. He wants to set up all these nuclear defense systems and bases all across Europe, because you know that first-hand strike he fears most is Russia. Okay, so he wants to set up that missile defense in Poland and the Czech Republic, whatever. And Russia knows that so you think you're going to strike us and you become immune to our return fire? So no, they got a missile called Satan that could bypass a lot of these damn nuclear defense systems that America has set up. It's called Satan. That's the name of the missile, and it goes way up in space and it comes down. So you got all these Gentiles running to the armory chambers. They're trying to act friendly in front of each other, but behind closed doors, they're running to beef up their military presence because they know a war is going to erupt eventually, sooner or later. Only the common Don people don't know these things because they're too caught up in nonsense and lust and sin. That's why Christ says it's going to be just like in the days of Noah. People were just eating, marrying, and giving into marriage, and knew not until the flood came. But this time it's not going to be a flood, it's going to be fire. Let's get Zechariah 14 and 12. Okay, that's what the Lord said according to the scriptures. And it's going to be beautiful, man. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, I just hope that I make it. I hope that a lot of y'all brothers out there, okay, make it. Okay, we know there's going to be elect, and we know that there's going to be a remnant, okay, but we just hope that we are that elect, although we dare we don't make ourselves of that number. We don't boldly say we are. Okay, so now let's go to Zechariah 14 and 12. It says, and this shall be the plague. See, the nuclear fire and the fire from the Lord is a plague. So that's why Zechariah stated, this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. So that goes for you Gentiles who have been unsubmissive to our people, meaning the men of the Lord in His truth. You fighting against us. You still want to, maybe the so-called white race, you're the number one nation guilty of that. Okay, and then because you don't want to admit that Christ was a black man. That's you don't do that. Okay, that's how you know. If you want submission from the so-called white man, ask him, is Christ a black man? If he tells you Christ is a black man and the Jews are black and my nation is going in captivity for the crimes of our ancestors, and then basically how my nation, okay, we need to be repaid back for all the wickedness and evil we've done on this earth. Okay, but you're really going to find that, okay, unless he's in a low level, all right? But the actual Gentiles, they really come up against our people in this truth. They're not really about that, meaning all those that are found guilty of that, hostiles as you like to call them, the Lord said he's going to destroy them because they came up against our people. And this even goes against a lot of you blacks and Hispanics that come up against our nation. When we speak the word of the Lord and we rebuke the nigger woman for being a demon, and then you want to fight us because of that. Okay, you want to be a bodyguard, Superman, Cape, Captain Saberhole for them. So you want to jump in our face, and then you want to get upset and angry, and you want to throw blows or make idle threats and wolf tickets and things of that nature. You do these things. The Lord has something for you guys, and it's called a damn fire nuclear ICBM, okay? And it says their flesh will consume away while they stand upon their feet, because you're going to be in the middle of doing your everyday normal routine, and you might hear incoming, this is not a test, emergency broadcasting system. You might hear that, or you might not be, because you a lot of you don't watch TV unless it's a basketball game. So you might not see that, but I think even basketball games will be cut off and shut down in these arenas. People are going to, I don't know. Lord said that people are going to be eating, married, and giving into marriage and knew not. So there's going to be certain people that's going to be found ignorant of what's coming in, okay? And it says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Okay, so what is that talking about? Your flesh melting off your skeleton, okay, your eyes consuming away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. I mean, this is some graphic stuff that the Most High is saying here. He's saying that the plague is going to cause your damn eyes and your skin, which is your flesh, and your tongue to melt away, man. What type of weaponry are we talking about here? Like Linda Hamilton, Terminator 2, okay, hand on the damn gate scene, okay? That movie's popular. People should have seen that movie, but if not, just YouTube that. Linda Hamilton, Terminator 2, hand on the damn gate, and all of a sudden a bright light flash throughout the sky. Temperatures just quickly rise up, way above Fahrenheit, okay? Melting everything that turns solid doesn't even get to, it gets hot so damn quick that in the process of matter, okay, flesh doesn't even get to, the solid doesn't even get to turn into metal, man. I mean, not metal, but the solid doesn't get to turn into liquid. Okay, the damn fire and just make the earth temperature core rise so damn quickly that the damn solid doesn't even have a chance to turn into liquid before it turns into gas. Okay, the law of condensation, things of that nature, and salutation and things of that nature. It doesn't even get to take presence in that time. It's just going to be straight up turn to ashes. Okay, turn to dust, rock, rubble. The Lord says it's going to melt away. In their mouths, tongues gone, okay, in their holes, eyes burnt out, okay, and their skeleton, flesh melt right off, man. That's crazy. But that's the type of power the Lord is coming with for all those that come up against this truth, man. Okay, let's get my last scripture. This is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 12. This is beautiful. Okay, this is basically a video quick intake concerning the nuclear destruction that the Lord has forecasted, this system, America, and yes, the 2/3 to go through, man. Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 13. Let me see here. Where I want to go with this? Yeah, we can finish off with Isaiah 33 and 12. And it says, and the people shall be as the burnings of lime. As thorns cut up shall be burnt in the fire. Okay, this is people being burnt in the fire. Hear, ye that are afar off, what I have done, and ye that are near acknowledge my might. All right? So this is what's going to happen after that fire. Everybody's going to hear about the Lord melting and destroying America and parts of the earth being melted, okay, with the people still therein. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Okay, yeah. So those that are basically, they don't believe in God and they just want to run their mouth and call the Lord certain names and be proud. And that day they're going to be afraid. Okay, fearfulness have surprised the hypocrites. Notice it's going to be a surprise to you niggas, man. It's going to be a surprise. You niggas just going to be going to the store, man. Okay, you're just going to be doing something that you're not even thinking about, no fire from the sky. And boom! And it's going to surprise you with the fire, man. Okay, that's what the Lord said. And the Lord says the hypocrites, man, because a lot of you boldly say that I don't fear God, I don't believe in God, I mean F God and all this other stuff, but you're going to be hypocrites in that day because you're going to fear God, okay, but you're going to fear the Lord in that day. You're going to fear the Lord in that day. And you might even say, oh God, help me, okay, Jesus, help me, okay, in that time when that fire comes. And it says, who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? So who's going to be part of them 2/3? Who's going to be part of the fuel of that fire to keep that fire burning? Who's going to be part of the people that partake in that lake of fire that burneth for brimstone, that nasty sulfuric ash smell that's eventually going to come through burning flesh and burning buildings and through just massive death and smoke and rubble and just fire and blackness and all that beautiful stuff that the righteous people will rejoice in the day that comes, man. All right? So, basically that's it on that. I advise y'all to read 2nd Ezra 16. That's a good scripture. Okay, start at verse 4. Okay, read 2nd Ezra chapter 16, start at verse 4, and read the remnant of the chapter. The first few verses in 2nd Ezra 16, it goes into the destruction that the Lord has got for Egypt and Syria, I believe. And when you read on down, it turns into the plague, which we just read in Zechariah 14, that the Lord said is going to come upon the earth. And it goes into that plague being the fire. Okay, the arrows, if you don't get to understand it, are the missiles. The Lord is speaking in parables here. The archer represents the nations that have those capabilities to shoot off those missiles. Okay, because in ancient times, long-range attacks were done through arrows and a bow. Okay, modern-day warfare, those arrows and a bow are sidearms and missiles being shot out of them. All right, so the Lord is speaking in ancient terms here, okay, before mass technology advanced itself for them to create an instrument, okay, brought for destruction. Like it tells you, I believe, in Isaiah the 54th chapter, okay, the smith that blew off the coals in the fire that created that instrument for its work, I believe. So with that, just wanted to go into that, quick fast, well, not quick fast, but an hour, concerning the nuclear destruction and things of that nature, all right? There's no peace, saith God, unto the wicked.